Hello and good evening and welcome to the 7th edition of the Port Humanitarian Hackathons. We're very pleased to have you here joining us today on this live stream. I'm Carlos Potamianos. I'm one of the co-founders and current co-president of the Port Association. Welcome. And tonight I have with me the pleasure to have Lorena with me.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm Lorena. I'm a former participant of the hackathon like you guys, and now I'm back helping to run it.
So what we are going to do today is to kickstart another edition of a very nice tradition, namely a hackathon. So you're probably all familiar with what hackathons are. People meet together. Fine. So we start over, or we start over, Daniel? So we start over or over?
I couldn't pick anything.
Over. Okay. Okay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the 7th edition of the Port Humanitarian Hackathons. We're very pleased to have you here with us tonight. I'm Carlos Potamianos. I'm one of the co-founders of the Port and current co-president, and I'm very pleased to have you here. And today with me, we have Lorena, who will co-host this evening with me.
So welcome, everyone. I'm Lorena Freitas. I'm a former participant of the hackathon like you guys, and now I'm back helping to run it.
So thank you, Lorena. Tonight, we are, like I said, having the 7th edition of our hackathon. It's a special case because it's online. We all know the reasons why that is. Funnily enough, it's also the first time it's raining while we have our event, so somebody earlier pointed that out to me. So it's a very special one, but we're very pleased to keep going with this tradition because at the Port, what we try to do is we combine creative minds from various fields to put them together and create multidisciplinary teams to really tackling challenging problems that are often not easily tackled because they don't always have commercial potential. And the humanitarian sector is one of those where really help is needed. And in partnership with various humanitarian organizations, the board has always tried to bring up new challenges and new ideas that would help make life better for a lot of people by having solutions that bring together many, many skills coming from various areas. So the format of our event is quite simple. So we basically have teams of up to 10 people who work together on a challenge. They're joined by coaches, they're joined by experts and field experts, and together they will tackle problems. And tonight we'll show you what these problems are. You'll have a more detailed description of what exactly it is we do at the port in our closing ceremony on Sunday, so definitely stay tuned for that. But before we go, we also have something else we want to show you. It's a new first. With this format allows us to do it, so we thought we would do it, and we have a little surprise. Lorena?
Right, so to kick off the 7th edition, we have prepared the surprise for you. We have, as Carlos said, one of the main points of the port is to bring and explore the skill sets of the people who are involved in it. So with that in mind, we have invited a quartet that is formed by one of our organizers, Agnes Jacob, and some of her friends who are both scientists and musicians. So today they're going to be showing us first movement. They're going to be starting this show with first movement of Gustav Holst's St. Paul's Suite. This is going to be followed by Borodin's second string quartet, during which we will be showing you a photo tour of previous editions of the hackathon. So you'll be seeing photos of the locations that we used, some prototypes that were built by team members, and you might also see some familiar faces of participants who either came back to participate again or who came back as organizers, mentors, experts, and so on and so forth. So please welcome our wonderful musicians, Tim Vernet and Noémie Calpini in the violin, Quentin Posvat in the cello, and our own Agnes Jacob in the viola.
Thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed this very much as we did. So thanks to all the musicians for coming here and playing in front of us. We really appreciate it. It's a first. It's something we don't usually do. It's because we had an opportunity. So normally here in the Globe, we're in a place where normally all the participants would gather and everybody would be here to listen to the outcome of the hackathons. But because of the pandemic, unfortunately, this wasn't possible. So we're a limited amount of people. So we thought we could bring this additional thing. And thanks for Agnes for proposing it, and for the whole orchestra quartet, sorry, for agreeing to do so. So let's keep going. I mean, we have a few things to discuss tonight. So one of the things that struck us out with COVID is that at the beginning of the year, as things evolved, many online hackathons started appearing to tackle COVID. We also participated to a few ourselves. So first of all, there was the Big versus Virus hackathon in Switzerland, which was part of a big movement of hackathons against the virus throughout the world. But these were really focused on, solutions for the virus, solutions for the economy, and so on. And at the port, we've always dealt with humanitarian problems, and we thought, okay, what can we do? What can we do this year? Moreover, many times we also build concrete prototypes, so devices that can be brought to the field and actually serve a purpose. And of course, digitally and online, it's difficult to do this kind of things. So we said, okay, should we stop? Should we try to do something else? Should we skip? Many events get skipped this year. But we thought, no, we can bring this format online. We have a network of motivated people, from the coaches that help really prepare the teams, from the teams themselves, which include former participants who know the spirit of the port. We also have a lot of organizations would help us and provide additional resources to make sure we can bring these topics to you. And so this is why we really like this part of the humanitarian sector. And we hope we can bring this to you in a very successful event during the weekend. We also look forward to see what the teams will come out in this more constrained environment, let's say. But this is why we also have a speaker who will talk a bit more about humanitarian needs. So Sonia Panzani from Sustainable United Nations will talk about digital scaling up in sub-Saharan Africa on a project she works with the NGO Terre des Hommes. And she will be remotely. And what she will talk about is user-centric needs-based humanitarian design, digital technology in aid work, and the importance of balance between original ideas and scaling up. So, Sonia, the floor is yours. You are unfortunately muted, Sonia, so can you maybe check your microphone? Unless it's on our end.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, we are fixing this, so I can talk to you more about. It's good?
Is it? Hello, good evening to all.
Good. Okay, Sonia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And first of all, I'm so sorry about my voice, which is going to be breaking a lot, but I'm so happy to be with you. I'm a bit sick, but it's really a pleasure Good evening to you all, and bear with my voice again. But thank you so much for the board organizers, and I'm really, really delighted to be here with you for this motivational speech humanitarian. As I've heard from the organizers, that this year counts with the highly motivated and engaged teams on very promising topics. So maybe you don't need so much a pep talk. So I will rather share some personal experience and learning and suggest a few recommendations. So quick personal insights. So just to tell you that I've spent the last 10 years working in sub-Saharan Africa in humanitarian aid, and half of this time was dedicated to scaling up digital health tool. So it started really small in few primary healthcare facilities with the digitalization of a medical protocol. Then it was extended to other medical protocols, and almost a decade later, it is now deployed in an unprecedented coverage of 70% of the primary healthcare facilities of the country, with a handover process to a Ministry of Health nearly completed by the end of this year after a 2-year process. So now I'm working with the Scaling Up Nutrition movement, and I'm so grateful for all the accumulated knowledge in terms of the enablers of the scaling up processes, and especially all the elements that are linked to the human factor to help the 10 countries in my portfolio with the scaling up approaches they intend to make. So how did we get there? And what is the learning? First, I will insist on the need-based. It's of utmost importance to really come up with a project that has been defined thanks to needs really expressed ideally by the users, and with a very fine understanding of the environment, what's there, what are the bottlenecks, and through a good mapping exercise that needs to be updated regularly. My second point would be like the co-construction. And I'm sure that that's something that you're going to do very nicely this year too, even remotely. In our case, it was with the Ministry of Health of a country. The third point is, rallying champions and keep extending your supporters network, thinking always about the what's in it for them components, like in any advocacy or change management process. Then it's also very important to foresee evidence, like to have the strong evidence from the research and in all its angle, not only impact or efficiency, but also include a realistic study which aims at assessing the responsiveness of the context, the acceptability from the context. Next element would be the user-centric. It's extremely important that you foresee and you envision having a feedback loop from users and having this iterative process that will keep you evolving with your tool and make you keep innovating in a way. Because if you don't keep innovating, then there are great chances that your tool might be as well replaced by others. And my last point would be like to think about win-win partnerships. It's super exciting to engage in those partnerships when you know that this partner is going to bring this expertise to the table and it's going to be very complementary. And with all the expertise that you have on the table, then you're going to be able to cover more fields and more geographical space at the same time. I would just tell you to be aware of the pilotitis phenomenon. I'm sure you've all heard about it. It started a decade ago. And of course, in the digital space, you have lots of fragmented and rather small-scale digital initiatives. Like if you're taking the WHO Atlas, which registers all the health projects out there, well, in this Atlas, you have 640 registered projects, but only 6% of them are self-identified as being at large scale. So it's very important for you to consider this and maybe again trying to think about the environment of the tool you will be implementing and you're working for in order to see how the different pieces from the puzzle are going to fit together someday. And therefore, a few recommendations on my side. You know, in theater improvisation, improv, we say there's a rule which says you have to say yes and. So I would strongly suggest that to your team members, in order to fully co-construct with multiple angles and lenses, you wouldn't say no, but really say yes and add other suggestions in order to build on to your team members' stories and this way to have a collective successful story. You're gonna be looking to embrace diversity and maximize the broad skill set that you have within the team. This is extremely important because every member has to bring this unique, incredible added value that they have to the table. Second recommendation would be in your narrative to really focus on how your solution stands out from others. How is it unique and how it is going to be like a great benefit describing how success would look like. So communication is key, and I'm sure your pitches are going to be perfect. Then another element, recommendation would be to think as of now about scalability and sustainability through well-thought processes with a clear and larger vision for your tool or approach to be flexible enough to evolve over time and maybe connect again to other initiatives through partnerships, for instance. More recommendations coming up. So engage also your stakeholders, which are not necessarily represented in your teams, so that you make sure you have, again, this full understanding of the context you will be dealing with a 360 view. Then do not lose sight of the human factor. This is extremely important. And yeah, it's to think about, what's the incentive for the users will be to use your solution, who your champions could be, who could engage in the monitoring progresses. And then, this creation step is key and is absolutely marvelous. But do think also about envision the maintenance, the follow-up, the possible extensions, and the scale-up for your solution. All big projects started from idea seeds, like the peers, and working on this weekend is super exciting for you all, and I'm delighted. I'm super thrilled for you, and I'm already excited to see the results on Sunday. And of course, my last recommendation would be to have a lot of fun, because there's no best enabling environment than a team who has the pleasure to work together, celebrate the steps while not losing sight of their vision and next moves to refine and take your solution further. So really make the most of the days ahead, and I'm wishing you the best of success to all teams. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you so much for your recommendations and your insights. I really like your yes and recommendation for the teams. And I think that now our participants are going to be much more eager and prepared to tackle their challenges. And speaking of the challenges, I think it's now time that we introduce them to you. First of all, I'm going to explain to you what the idea behind the port is. So at the entrance of our harbor, we have this lighthouse whose goal is to shine light into humanitarian problems that are currently underserved. So what we do is we bring people from all over the world and from all walks of life, so medical doctors, engineers, physicists, psychologists, philosophers, you name it. And we put these people together around our peers to tackle each one of these problems together. So I will now start inviting the peers to introduce their problems to you, and we're going to start by numbers. So I would like to start, please, with peer 24, who are leveraging the use of satellite imaging and machine learning to improve vaccine routes and access to essential health services. And the timing is really perfect here. So this group, they're being coached by Kitty Liao and Mohamed Mosaji, who are actually previous participants of the hackathons. They participated in several editions indeed. And yeah, I would like to invite Stefan and Branko to tell us about their project now.
Cool, can we start? Amazing, then we just start. Hello everyone, we are from
ahead,
SatTrack. Sorry, just lost connection. Okay. Hello everyone, we are from SatTrack. According to the World Health Organization, 20 million children still lack basic vaccinations. Just imagine that. And 2 to 3 million children die each year of vaccine-preventable disease. And that's unacceptable. The world is researching now for a COVID vaccine, and yet we don't have a reliable way to vaccinate everybody efficiently. And the major issue is figuring out where the vulnerable population lives. And to reach the people effectively, we need to know where they live exactly. Not just on a country level or in a region, but on a neighborhood level. We need to count them. And in a lot of countries where aid and vaccines are vital, this data is absolutely crucial and not available for us. Through the use of satellite images and basic building footprint identification, there's a rough idea of where people live, but this needs to be further improved.
So the overall goal of this project is to determine if a building is inhabited or not, basically if it's a residential building or not. The WHO has provided us with satellite images along with just basic building footprint data for Zambia. This will then be fed into our machine learning program that will then do the building identification. The machine learning program identifies the buildings by using a variety of features and then gives it a label. Afterwards, these building labels can be fed into a variety of different applications for use. Though in this case, we'll just show it as an overlay on a map, showing basically if it's residential or not. As a success metric, we will compare a process data set with a very small portion of Zambia that has already been labeled manually by hand. So this project can be further built upon with more specific labeling, for example, health centers. Thanks for listening, and we're looking forward to the hacking this weekend.
Perfect, thank you very much. So now it's my pleasure to come with the next peer in line. So that would be peer 51. So their topic will be on artificial intelligence for mental health. And I will give the floor to Carolina, sorry. And just to briefly also introduce the coaches of these teams, we have Nicola, who is from also the port and participant since a couple of times, and Mark, who has also been with us for a while. And Carolina, you can go for it.
Thank you so much. Greetings, fellow hackers. My name is Carolina from Peer 51. Our challenge is to define and prototype AI software that improves mental health. In the midst of the ongoing global pandemic, we are experiencing a massive increase in mental health problems. These can hamper our abilities to meet our everyday needs. To gauge the scope of the problem, we gathered data from a dozen interviews and over 120 survey responses. We found that social isolation was a key contributor to stress. People report feeling lonely and missing physical touch. Respondents are trying to cope by engaging in alternative social interactions, mainly online, and working more with their hands like gardening or drawing. We decided that our goal should be to foster social connections that cut down on screen time while providing a tactile experience. This combination led to the idea of a global postcard switchboard through AI. It's like a message in a bottle, while you are both the sender and the recipient. Users purchase a physical postcard, write a brief note about themselves, and send it to the AI switchboard. The AI analyzes the text and forwards it to someone with a similar interest across the globe. It can also reply to users on its own, guaranteeing a response for every card sent. This reciprocal anticipation for physical messages will hopefully boost users' morale and reduce negative symptoms. Some foreseeable applications for this platform include motivational challenges, such as collecting a postcard from every country. We're also exploring matching mentees with mentors who have gone through difficult experiences or loss, diving deeper into the mental health challenge. We look forward to probing this idea further and welcome your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. It's a really interesting topic as well, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate after this pandemic. So now, still staying in the topic of health, we're going to be inviting Peer 77 to introduce their challenge, which is open source for health knowledge. And I would like to invite Sina Kezi to tell us about it.
Hello, guys.
The coach is, of course, Carlos Potamianos, who's here with us today, and Sarah, who has also been a previous participant of the port.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. So let's talk about the open source for medicine. So the slow response from medical world and its failure to coming up with a definite solution for COVID-19 has proven that medicine has some flaws that needs to be addressed. On the other hand, the open source line of thinking in software industry has proven that it's a versatile and effective way to go about putting knowledge into hands of the people and the public. So we think that an open source movement is a way to go for medicine in future to face these kind of challenges. And that's why we have created OpenMedX. OpenMedX is a platform which its goal is to share medical knowledge without any boundaries. And in order to do that, we need to create a place for researchers and experts from medical and non-medical expertise in order to exchange ideas and collaborate on projects and execute them. And but with one promise in mind, that it has to be open source for everyone. And we're not just going to focus on software, but also on hardware and medical devices and even drug discovery and development. The best case of use and the places that will make the most of this kind of ecosystem will be places that don't have access to robust healthcare systems, or they're currently facing a health crisis in their area. On the other hand, we can make it easier for small companies and laboratories all around the world to get their hands on a new technology and data, so they can reduce the cost of their products by skipping a huge part of their research and development phase. And we think that the best starting point for showing the potential of this platform in this hackathon will be to gather information, projects, technology, and solutions for COVID-19 and the problems caused by it, and share it on OpenMedX with everyone in an open source manner. Thank you very much.
Nice overview. Next, I will welcome Peer 84, which aims to actually improve how one can get better feedback for a humanitarian project. The idea is to explore technology to collect better information, empower beneficiaries, and improve feedback mechanisms for humanitarian projects. The two speakers will be Anka and Alex, and they will join us in a minute. And for this, and the coaches were Ben, which also is a long time the port and started as a former participant as well. And then we have Christopher. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. It's going to be just me for now. So my name is Anka from Team Afdal Tawasul. Our team will create an automated feedback mechanism primarily for internally displaced people in Yemen that are either currently receiving assistance from UNHCR and their partners, including World Food Programme, or those currently outside of the UN database, but still requiring assistance. The system we propose will rely on 2G mobile network coverage. It will primarily be in Arabic and SMS-based, since smartphones are sometimes a luxury in some areas. Although time permitting, an audio extension might be investigated. We build a free or very cheap system and user-friendly, since the coexistence of different dialects as well as illiteracy could be a major challenge for its users. The future system could ideally receive feedback from people outside of the UN database. The team has been exploring software solution for an automated SMS-based survey system. We have decided to base the solution on the Django web framework. Twilio will be used as the communication interface to allow automated sending and receiving SMS surveys. Survey responses will be stored in a database, and the data will be made accessible through an API or simple user interface. Survey questions will be designed in Arabic with the view of making the responses structured and suitable for analysis. Time permitting, data visualization and analysis options may be explored. To get a working product, this solution will be initially set up for Switzerland, but the team will explore the costs and logistics to extending this to Yemen and other countries not supported by Twilio. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, Anka. That's a very interesting project as well, and I can see how you could even collaborate with some of the teams at the end of the hackathon. So I would like to invite now Peer 88, Fighting Human Trafficking, and who's going to be talking to us about it is Ingrid. Sorry, the coaches for this team are James Jennings and Mona Lisa Orofino.
Okay, thank you very much. So did you know that today 25 million people are held captive in forced labor all over the world and even in developing countries? There are more slaves now in the world than ever before. There are more slaves now than over the last 400 years combined. And 1 in 4 victims of modern slavery is children. There remains a huge lack of awareness that this crisis exists, as it is hard to believe in our modern times that this is possible. And for those who are aware, what action can they take? But times are changing. The consumer has more power than ever before with their purchasing decisions, and they can dramatically decrease demand for those products that do not align with their values. So yes, we can make a difference. We as a team in the Port Humanitarian Hackathon kept coming back to a lack of awareness in our discussion. Because if only people knew this wouldn't happen, and if only people knew they would act. Because you see, as public pressure mounts, the momentum would shift towards positive change, from denial to ownership, and from finger pointing to collaborative action. So we applaud the organizations, the governments, and the NGOs who are working in this field. And we will collaborate with them to develop an awareness platform to build the bridge between the information out there and the consumer to make sure that we unchain the modern day slaves. And we support all shoppers to have the information and confidence they know that everything that they buy is made without slave labor. So thank you for your attention, and we look forward to this weekend.
Thank you very much, Ingrid, for this nice overview of the peer. And lastly, we have another peer, which is Peer 99, which will work on drones for detect explosive devices. And here, Patrick will tell us a bit more about the project, which is basically about developing aerial remote sensing and deep learning capable of recognizing patterns of landmines and weapons to improve security of vulnerable populations. And for this peer, we have Daniel and Sako, who are coaching this team. Daniel, one of our co-founders, and Sako, a long-time participant, and he keeps coming and he's been coaching for us for a little while. So go ahead, Patrick.
Hello, I'm Patrick from Peer 99, aka Drone for Life. Contamination from unexploded and abandoned weapons continue to kill and maim people years, sometimes decades, after the last shot has been fired in an armed conflict. Clearing an area from weapon contamination is a tedious and dangerous task. With the latest advancement in drone and remote sensing technology, an off-the-shelf solution shall be evaluated to expedite the process without adding costs or impacting the clearance operator safety. The key goals and requirements for this challenge are to evaluate a drone sensor system where an easy operable drone with a thermal camera can be stable in the air, taking high quality images of a contaminated area. In order to accomplish this, we need to attach the camera to the drone with a stabilizing gimbal. We have to reference then this data from the sensor, the thermal camera, with a GPS location in order to determine the position of the objects which will be detected. The whole system shall then be simple to use, rigid, and easy to maintain by the users in the field. To detect the landmines, we have to find an open source solution for analyzing the images with or without other sources like satellite images or topographic data. We have then also to assess existing object detection algorithms on their ability to detect landmines in the data from the contaminated area. In the end, an output could look like the picture which you see on the right side of the screen. This output should then help to clear the hazardous objects from the field, and then people can then again access the area safely. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Patrick. And now we will continue with a brief explanation of the remainder of our event. So I will let the next slide come up so we have a bit of support. Okay. Okay, waiting there, seeing all the nice things that are prepared for the hackathon. So for our schedule, so as you know, we're here now during the opening presentation. We're going to have a session with Remotely Green, which Lorena will talk to you about in a couple of minutes. Tomorrow, I mean, you can start hacking right away, so that's the deal. It's 48 hours starting from after this ceremony. But then, yeah, tomorrow you will basically keep doing hacking, but then there will be some updates and virtual coffee at 10 a.m. European Central Time, because we have to keep a time reference. Then in the early evening at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, there will be our midterm review. So during that time, people will be able to share where they're at with their project, talk with the other participants, get feedback on their progress, maybe also find those connections, you know, like some peer has some skills or something that they can do and could help each other, because of course that's the idea. This is going to be a first. It's going to be interesting to do this online. Usually we all gather in Idea Square. You've seen the pictures where everybody's around there, but we hope it will be fun. And then Sunday, it's you know, the last day, but we'll still do an update at 10 a.m. And then at 6, we will start having the final presentation where all the projects is going to be a similar event to this webcast, where all the solutions will be a bit detailed, a bit more in more detail in a way. And then we'll also find a virtual version of partying. You saw some pictures. Unfortunately, we can't do it here, but you know, next time we manage to do it physically, we will definitely do it. So then next, I let Lorena talk about the next step for tonight.
So, as Carlos said, after the opening ceremony, we're going to be meeting other people. So we tried to find a way to mimic what would happen in the original version of the hackathon, where you meet, of course, not only the people who are working on the same team as you, but all of the participants of the hackathon. So we tried to figure out a way of doing this online, and that's why we partnered with Remotely Green. So you all are going to join a different platform. So you have the link on the screen now. You have to register first, and once you're in, you're going to choose topics that you like to talk about, things that you're interested in, And then you're going to go on 5 rounds where you're going to be paired with people who like to talk about the same topics. And this is all going to be done automatically. It may be people from your teams, but it may be someone that you haven't met yet. So we hope that this will be very fun. And if you enjoyed this part of the opening ceremony, please tell us on Slack afterwards, because this is an open-ended thing that we included, but we can add many other sessions of Remotely Green throughout the event. So if you want to have a coffee break where you meet other people as well, you're a little bit tired of hacking, just let us know and we can run a Remotely Green session for you. So do let us know if you like it. For Slack, there are 3 main channels that we would like to tell you about. First is announcements. Please always check it at all times. This is where we're going to give you information about special events or urgent information or anything that you need to do, reminding you of deadlines and everything like that. So please keep an eye on that. Then the general channel, of course, is where everyone can say anything they want. If you need help with a specific part of your project that you think someone else from a different team might help, this is where you would write. And if you have any technical problems related to the hackathon itself, then you can use the channel help desk, and all of us are going to be there ready to help you.
Thanks a lot, Lorena, for all these details about the event, and really excited to be able to maybe talk to you all during the Remotely Green session. I think it's one of these things where we try to make a plus to get the event virtual as possible, as close as possible to the one in reality. But as you know, we're in a virtual environment. And actually, there was one other thing besides the Idea Square, besides the Globe, the presence here at CERN, that made the board unique, is we had Pierre for a long while, who was actually bringing us a photo booth, which was, you've already seen during the, earlier stages. You've seen this device that we're showing where you push a button, you have a screen, and then basically you basically get a picture of yourself, and then you had a QR code and something that would be posted on social media, for example. You could get a printout in the form of a small sticker, and then basically, you see one of those stickers there, you see the photo booth on the left, and you could see also the online version today. So if you go to theport.ch/photo booth, and for once we took an example here on the lower right in this place just a few minutes ago, and you really see like what the virtual equivalent of a photo booth is, and you also get a fun quote from a famous person. So please do use it. We will also involve making collages and things like that. So you will be able to see all the pictures that are on the photo booth, but feel free to use it, abuse it, make pictures, and then we'll also make funny mosaics of all the people, because we all know that very few people, or probably no one, are together at this moment in the same place. So thanks a lot for using it, and I think we are more or less through, right? What else did we have to say? Maybe a word about social media. Yeah, so we use Facebook, Twitter, anything else. The hashtags are theport2020. Please use that one. I think it's the most appropriate one. Yes, that was it. I really thank you for being here. I don't know, Lorena, if you want to add a little something.
I was just going to say follow the Port Association on Twitter if you don't already. This is where we're going to be launching the hashtags for you to retweet. And yeah, thank you so much for being part of this. We're really looking forward to meeting all of you now in the Remotely Green session. Have fun, good luck, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to build.
See you in Remotely Green, so app.remotely.green, and we'll be seeing you in a couple of minutes.